Hats off to Miami for making the plays down the stretch they needed to make to win the football game. It was two really good defenses battling, and they were able to find a drive, and we were able to respond, and we just weren't able to finish. And so, we weren't able to get it done. We came up 5 yards short, and that's something we'll have to live with throughout the offseason. But still proud of this team, proud of what they accomplished, proud of what they did. And from there, we'll open up to questions.
Please raise your hand if you've got a question. We'll go to the fourth row.
Coach Elko, in your mind, what should the history books say about these 2025 Aggies?
Yeah, what I just told them. I said to the seniors who just played their last game, they left a mark on elevating this program that will never go away. From where this program was 2 years ago to where it is now, I don't think that can be lost on people. I think it's made massive strides. And then I said to the guys coming back, there's still another major step we have to take as a program to finish. I think the last two games showed that. And so it's a rallying cry to the guys that are still here and still have time to play, but I don't think we can turn our back on the guys who just finished their careers here and everything that they accomplished and everything that they did for Texas A&M football.
We'll stay to the left, fifth row, Sam.
Mike, when you think back to the offensive struggles, what do you think made it hardest on you guys to get points on the board?
Yeah, we lost the game of the line of scrimmage, and I think it got worse in the second half. I think, we just couldn't keep them off of us. We couldn't get the run game established. We became one-dimensional. Once we became one-dimensional, they were able to tee off. I think they finished with 7 sacks. We didn't win the line of scrimmage, and you can't play playoff football and not win the line of scrimmage. And, then obviously they're able to get the run game going, and we wound up losing the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and you're just not going to win if that's the case.
Alex, second row.
How much do you feel like the wind was a factor out there? Just could you feel it out there?
Yeah, I think it played a role, but it played a role for both teams. I think it was challenging to be precise with the football. I think it took some of the screen game out of the equation because of that, but it affected both teams evenly.
And then just what exactly happened with Le'Veon? Was it a re-aggravation of what he had already dealt with?
Yeah, it was a re-aggravation. He's good. Scans were good. Everything came away clean, and so he'll be fine going into the offseason for what he's got to do now.
We'll stay to the left, first row, Olin.
Yeah, Mike, I was just curious on the fake punt. Is that something that y'all had seen that you automatically do, or was it a case that you were thinking, hey, there's just not going to be a lot of points scored today, and we got to manufacture them?
Probably a little of both. I think it was probably a little bit of both. It was something we felt like we had a chance at. I think we did. It was something we wanted to run around that area of the field, and it just felt like the right time to try to see if we could get a lead going into halftime.
We'll go to the right, Travis, front row.
Mike, on the final play, what was the look you were hoping to get on that last offensive play?
It's hard to say. I think, it's hard to say without watching the tape.
And did you think that there should have been a stoppage before that for a targeting look?
I don't think that matters.
We're going to go the second row, Brian Davis.
Mike, what happened on when Fletcher got loose for that 56-yard run that took them and set them up for their touchdown drive? Anything specific happened on that, or he just get loose? Or
he just got loose. I thought they found some surfaces and some runs. They started getting their wide receivers involved in inside gaps, and really created a very, very it was a heavy power football they were playing with 3 wide receivers on the field, and we just didn't handle it well enough.
the way that your run defense had been playing all day, though, that play and then Tony's run around the edge, did you just feel like bend but don't break, and they broke, or what do you think?
No, I think we just didn't make the plays we needed to make down the stretch. That's all.
Coach, we'll go back over to the left, fourth row.
Coach, Marcel obviously had a great year. Ending didn't go quite the way you wanted to, but when you look at his overall play, and specifically today, what do you feel like he needs to work on to become a better version of himself and what he can be?
Yeah, I think he's still a young quarterback. I still think there's a lot of room for development and growth from him. I think you saw major strides this year, but I still think there's a ceiling there that he's not close to hitting. And so he's a great kid. He's a hard worker. I know he'll go back to work this offseason, and I think you'll get a much better version of him next year with another year of continued development in our system.
We'll stay to the left, third row.
Coach, how do you want this team and this group of players to be remembered moving forward?
I think kind of how we talked about the first question, that was the same one. I think they left a legacy in terms of redirecting this program. 11 wins, playoffs for the first time, and then a little disappointed that we weren't able to finish it down the stretch.
We'll go over to the right, second row.
Yeah, Mike, after those 11 straight wins and being in the top 5 all year, how much pain are you feeling wanting it so bad and not being able to deliver today?
No, it's not about me. It's the pain the kids feel. I'm fine. I'm a grown man. I can handle it. You hurt for those kids because you know how hard they worked. You know what they put into this thing. People will try to knock at what they did and what they accomplished, and that won't be fair to them, and they'll have to deal with that. But that's life today in this day and age. I hurt for them. It's a great group. I enjoyed being around them. It was a lot of fun to come to work every day, and I'm going to miss being able to do that.
We'll go to the front row.
Mike, what went into the decision to pick Zirkle as the field goal kicker, and what did you see kind of go wrong on that kick?
It was just low. It was a low kick. It didn't get the height that it needed. It didn't get the trajectory that it needed.
Was there something in practice you saw that led you to pick him as the guy?
Yeah.
And then just Marcel's play in this game, how would you kind of assess it? And were some of the struggles due to the trenches play you talked about?
It was a lot. There was a lot of pressure on him. When you can't establish the run game, it's really challenging. And the last 2 games, we haven't been able to run the football, and that makes it really, really hard when you play good teams. And so, I think you see something very similar with us. If teams can't get the run game going, we've been able to tee off on them. It's the same kind of thing. And so I think it starts with our inability to run the football. Marcel Reed can't be our leading rusher. He can't have the most carries. It just can't happen that way, and we've got to go into the offseason and we've got to figure some things out on how to do that better. And then I think he'll tell you he was up and down a little bit. Certainly the pressure impacted it. Give Miami credit; they certainly impacted it. They're a really good defense, and we just got to figure it out.
We'll stay to the right, third row.
Mike, in the first half especially, y'all did a great job containing Carson Beck. He was having a lot of difficulty. Y'all were getting a great pass rush on him, and then it loosened up a little bit there in the second half. Did you see any adjustments that they made in the second half to allow him to do that?
No, I think it was the exact opposite of what I just kind of went over with us. I think our struggles were we could never get the run game going. I think what they were able to do in the second half is get the run game going, and I think that let them play in front of the chains a little bit more. It wasn't as many obvious passing situations. The third down distance changed. We weren't able to put him in as many third downs as we were in the first half, and so, and then obviously he came out in the opening drive and made some throws. He's a talented kid. He was going to do that at some point, but I just think it was a little bit more. They were able to get the line of scrimmage going, and then that kind of forced us into some different looks run-wise, and I think that's kind of, it was more that than anything else.
We'll go to the left, second row, Aaron.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, this was y'all's first playoff game, and we're neck and neck for the most part. But do you think that getting these players more playoff experience or experience in big games like this will help you guys down the road to achieve the big goal?
Yes. I think in order to ultimately complete the playoff quest, you've got to first get in, you got to learn what it's all about, and then you got to get good enough to win games in the playoffs.
We'll go to the right, fifth row, said.
Hey, Mike, you guys, what were your conversations like at the half? Because you had some scoring opportunities there in the first half, deep in their territory that you came up empty on.
Yeah, I think it was just the one, right, in the first half where we missed the field goal. It just felt like we were having a hard time getting unhinged. We weren't doing a really good job with the field position game on special teams. That was, they had the big return that flipped the field. We hit a couple low line drive kicks that didn't help. We weren't able to get the return game going, and so their net punt was better than ours. It felt like the field just kind of kept tilting away from us in a defensive struggle, right? And that makes it challenging. We got the one drive down there. We weren't able to finish it, and then we got the field goal blocked, and And then on the flip side, I thought defensively we went into some short field situations and really made some stands. But then when you do that, then your offense has to come out and go a really long way. And in that type of game, it creates challenges.
We'll go back to the left, second row, Colton.
Hey, Coach. Were there any positives that came out of this game, and what were they, if you thought there were?
It's hard to take positives in a playoff game that you lost that ends your season. I think there's positives in the big picture direction of Texas A&M, but I wouldn't say in this game.
We'll stay to the left, front row, Mark.
Mike, how frustrating is it to see a problem that you've recognized and dealt with all year, the run defense, come to this point, and the same thing repeats itself, and a guy breaks off for 172 yards, and that's the difference in the game?
I think that you're not really in a position to talk about these things as the year's going on because you're just trying to find ways. But clearly, that was a weakness of ours. That goes without saying, and so it's hard to make a weakness a strength in the middle of the season. And so again, we've got to look at what we're doing. We've got to look at how we're doing it. We've got to figure some things out this offseason. But when you're in the middle of it, it's certainly very challenging to turn a weakness into a strength.
Alex, second row.
I realize it's fresh, but just what do you feel like are the biggest things y'all need to accomplish this offseason to keep this thing going the way you hope it's trending?
I don't hope it's trending. It is trending. I see the direction that it's trending. 8 wins to 11 wins. I see the direction it's trending. We're going to finish the season ranked. That hasn't happened in a while around here. What has to happen? We have to continue to elevate. We have to continue to move this thing in the right direction. We've got to continue to make positive strides building this program. We were not a elite program ready to compete for a national championship when we took over. We're still not. We're working to become it. We're battling to become it. I think clearly these last 2 games have showed there's still room in areas that we have to continue to grow. But that's what this is. That's what this should have been. And so I think it's a credit to those kids that they put ourselves in this position and got us to where we were. But we've got a lot of work to do to continue to develop this program into what ultimately it needs to become. And we're still in the infant stages of that.
We'll go back over to the right, fifth row.
Mike, I think in the last 4 games of the season, y'all end up -8 turnover-wise. What are the factors that you see kind of causing those problems? And I guess when you're playing really good teams, how does that make it tougher for you guys?
Yeah, it makes it really challenging. I think it's a huge part of it. I think we finished the season -8 in turnover margin. It's not a great stat. That's not where you need to be. You have to be on the other side of that ledger. I think that some of it comes down again to we've got to figure some things out in terms of how to control the line of scrimmage better than we were able to do this season. That's really what it's going to come down to.
We'll go back over to the left, fifth row, Sam.
Mike, you talked about having to live with this throughout the offseason. What do you think will nag at you the most about the way this ended?
Just that it ended. I thought, we came into this season, and I think, the very realistic conversation about this team was we were a really good team that was going to have a chance in every game they played, was going to have fairly small margins to be successful, but was going to have an opportunity to go out there and be successful. And I think that's exactly how it played out. We weren't able to tilt the margins in our favor the last 2 games. That's going to be a killer. One to not go to Atlanta, one to not go to the quarterfinals, and so that's a killer. But you got to swallow it and you got to move forward just like we did last year.
Coach, we'll go to the front right.
Mike, you talked about some of the run defense issues there. We had talked to the players a lot throughout the season. They always felt it was just, gap integrity or just some simple fixes. As you look at the season as a whole, was it just simple fixes or was there more nuance to why you guys just, kind of struggled down the stretch there?
Yeah, obviously there's a ton of nuance in it. If it was as easy as just simple fixes, we would have simply fixed it, not to be disrespectful, but, there's a lot that goes into where the struggles were. And so, we've just got to figure it out. I'm sorry, I don't have much of a better answer than that.
To the left, third row, Matthew.
After being amongst like the top sack totaling teams all season, what led to the inability to get to Beck tonight?
I don't know if we had an inability to get to him. I think we sacked him twice in the first half. I think the problem was in the second half we couldn't get him into third down where they had to throw the ball.
All right, anything else for Coach? Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your